think that's different from the one you mentioned. Like here, OECD refers to something uh, which gives information on journal. So how can that be the direct competitor for IITTI? Like here it shows the OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So is this the one you were talking about?
Yeah, they have very many different initiative. OECD is a big organization, and so it goes against them because they're okay. Let me see. There are people waiting to get inside the room. So okay, I'm okay. So they are to some people they are our competitors, but to me, they are potential collaborators, just like everybody else in the world. The reason being is they are not really having some kind of an app that every individual can use. Every citizens on Earth can use the World Civility Index. Whereas OECD, they are really having a bunch of experts and they talk about certain survey and so on. So it's not the same kind of animal, if you may, in that regard. So are they competitors? At this point, people may want to use OECDs, but if you go and talk to a school, university, or a company, they would say, well, I can't use OECD. They're not designed for them to use for human capital development training, for ESG, or for many purposes, for education. They're not designed for that. They're designed to help governments set policies. So whatever OECD do, they are having that mindset is they're facing government. They are G to G, government to government. And so it's a very different thing in that regard.
Okay, so I should include OECD as the direct competitor, right?
You could. I think it's you can build a very beautiful case as to saying, well, there's Coursera, there's LinkedIn, there's da 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 da, there's OECD,
Mm-hmm.
and United Nations. They have many initiatives, and so the conclusion is they are apparent competitors. But if you really look into the details, they can be our potential collaborators in that sense. So that would be
Okay. Okay, so then I should like focus more on the LinkedIn Coursera as the competitors and can also include OECD as one of the competitors, but should not focus more on OECD because that can be the collaborators as well. So while focusing on the competitors, the LinkedIn, Coursera, and all should be on the top list.
yes, yeah. Again, LinkedIn and Coursera and all the other educational platform, they are not focused like IITTI. We're focused on just one thing, and that is the human capital development, the soft skills. Whereas in most cases, Coursera, LinkedIn, and so on, predominantly they're focusing on hard skills. They're focusing on engineering skills, AI, finance, management, and so on. So that is not really soft skills as we look at it. Yeah, leadership skills and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't have this concept of a universal measurement. So if you go to LinkedIn and you go through one of their programs, there are many very excellent program there. You go through them, you earn a certificate. That is very good. But if you talk to a human resource manager, how would they understand all the different hundreds of different programs on LinkedIn and hundreds of different programs on Coursera and so on, and from Stanford and UCW and so on? How can they tell what's the gravity of that program? How many weeks was there? What did they learn? How big they are in that sense. Whereas the IITTI, it's a different animal, and that is we can say, well, we can measure all of them. We can measure the stuff from Coursera, from LinkedIn, and so on eventually, and all of those courses have the credentialing go into World Civility Index, so that there's this one single number that the human resource manager can look into and say, I can see approximately how big that program was that Joe Doe went through, and it was 5 points. So at least some idea. So the human resource manager, the millions of human resource managers around the world, can very quickly to say that, well, one person has 5 points and another person has 100 points. Well, there's no doubt, who should they should be maybe giving first priority for interviews and so on. That is what they call a first order approximation. So it's not a perfect scale. We know there are a lot of holes, and we're going to get better and better over time, but it's the first order approximation, some ballpark figure for all the millions of human resource managers. That is the value that the IITTI adds in that regard. So none of them, to my mind, to our mind, are real competitors, but eventual collaborators, because they are the upstream and they feed into the IITTI World Civility Index downstream, so that the human resource manager can really consume it in that regard. Now it's very hard for human resource managers to consume because the market is so fragmented. So that is the issue.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, so in short, like then I need to include all these competitors in the indirect competitors, because as we see, they don't focus on the human skills and all, but I think Coursera or LinkedIn Learning, they do have some courses like personality development, maybe, and the personality development can include the topics to develop the skills,
Yes,
like the,
absolutely.
yeah, so under that personality development.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I should include then all these mentioned competitors as the indirect competitors and not the direct, because there's no direct competitors such as.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have asked ChatGPT and a few other AI to say, well, are there any competitors with World Civility Index? And
Mhm.
they listed the same similar things. Oh yeah, there's Coursera, there's OECD, and so on. And we said, no. Look closer. ChatGPT. This is what we do. We are credentialing. We're not a training company. And then ChatGPT or Google Gemini and DeepSeek and so on, they come back, oh yes, that's right. So they're smarter. They realize, I know what I'm talking about. And they say, wow, these are actually not competitors, but potential collaborators. So the IITTI, they look at it very differently now, because we can scale. And we don't do any training ourselves. In fact, if we have the manpower to go to the Coursera authors and trainers and so on who designed those courses, we'll say, well, this is what you should do. You should work with IITTI. The hundreds of thousands of very good quality trainers out there, they can all be part of the IITTI umbrella, in the sense that the World Civility Index becomes like the Amazon of soft skill training in that regard. Well,
Mhm.
while the Amazon model is, at the beginning they were selling books, but they don't write any books, they don't publish any books. But what they do is they go to all the book publisher and authors and so on, and say, well, why don't you put it onto the Amazon umbrella, and then you can have a big market, and so on. And so this is the model of long tail, of a long tail. It's not like you only have one or two customers, but you have hundreds of thousands of customers. And this is the model of the future. Because if you look at the biggest hotel operators in the world, it's not Marriott, it's not Hilton, it's Airbnb. But Airbnb have no hotel of their own, but they are the biggest. So the IITTI is like the Airbnb of soft skills, or the Amazon, or the Uber. The biggest taxi company is not New York Taxi Limited, is Uber, and yet they own no taxi. Same with IITTI. We are into soft skill training, human capital development, but we do none of the training programs. So those are the models that we look into.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
so is it okay for you if before submitting the final competitive analysis, I just share it with you on the Ripen's chat box? So just you can go through it, and then if any changes needed, I can add those and then in the final report. Will that work for you?
Yes, that would be good. By all means, please list the
Mhm.
in learning, the Coursera, and so on, because those are the usual suspect when people look at IITTI code. And then when you list that, they see, yes, this guys have done the homework and so on. And then you can come back and say, actually, these are not competitors, but they are potential collaborators for IITTI. So that would,
Okay. So
yeah,
first referring as comparators and then coming to this conclusion.
yes.
Oh, got it. Thank you so much. Yeah,
thank
Shiba, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I would like some more insight on the difference between the app and also the physical exams that you conduct, like level 1, level 2, and level 3. Like, so now when we have only one score of the civility index, and also what is the maximum point somebody can get?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an infinite game, like Simon Sinek was saying, Apple is on an infinite game, kind of a game plan, and Microsoft is on a finite game plan. And what it means is, partially agree with him. Infinite game plan people are very different from a finite game plan, very transactional, whereas infinite game plan are more relational. So they talks about the relationship with the whole ecosystem. They don't mind other people winning. So when Apple executives see that Microsoft had came out with a better product and so on, they say, well, good, that's very good. That is something that we expect and we can learn from. That's an infinite game kind of a mindset. Now, how does it relate to ITTI? There's no set limit as to the number of points that people can earn, and so can be great cradle to grave. So when they're young, like we're already doing in with some people in Hong Kong are setting up a humanity hub in Hong Kong, and they are trying to look into the lower grades so that they can get this kind of moral compass, if you may. It's a very serious word. And so young people can grow up with the good moral compass and the good etiquette and all the soft skills in that. So they can earn points through high school, through universities, through when they go out to work or when they set up their own business and so on. Every stage of life have different needs of people skills. So those are kind of things that we cater to. And the reading program, for example, the people usually earn 1 point, and so they can accumulate those points over time. So that's a time game. And the written exams are the classic. That's what we started off 14 years ago because everybody understand what is a written exam, and you get a certificate at the end, so level 1, level 2, level 3, and so on. So we spend a lot of effort on that. And so people can earn, for example, at one sitting for level 1 is 70 points, 70 points. So they can earn all that. The two models are complementary. The exams are really about testable skills, skills that can be assessed in a multiple choice kind of environment. Is either right or wrong. So there's international business etiquette, for example, something that are known to be wrong. That if you do, that's a mistake. So you can do multiple choices. Whereas the reading program is really about honing one's discipline. So every day, ideally, to have one little nugget of information, those can be more abstract because it can be shown through videos and articles that are harder in having, you test them. Whoa, should you be taking the paper towel or or the soap from your employer when you work for a hotel? Of course, it's no, right? So people know that, but they don't really have it in their heart. So you really need to have that long-term kind of cultivation program so that you can see that people can earn points over time in that regard. So those are the two things that the two sides are doing.
Okay. Um, yes, I understand um, where this is all coming from, but the credibility, like how can we, if it is an exam, right? So we are easily able to tell people like, hey, take this exam, earn the certificate, put it on your resume. But if it is an app, it is disadvantages for the people who start late. Like say we as students, we want to start now. Like how many hours are we going to spend there to attain 70 points or 100 points? Like, so we are at a disadvantage there. Um, so so I really don't how do we make this a standard if we are pushing the app to the public? Pushing
Mhm.
the exams, I understand, but the app, I do not understand.
The app, well, we don't really have an app like you can download from Google Play and so on. It's really a web app. So it's on our website, and people can go to our website and earn the points through the reading and so on. Um, I agree with you. It's hard to say, well, is it worth 70 points to write an exam, whereas you only earn 1 point when you read an article and so on. There are a lot of debates, and so the whole team hammer out this system as best they can. Now, I'm not saying that this is cast in stone. It could change in the future. There are already words that there could be some changes, but not the reading program versus the exam. There's going to be something uh, very wonderful coming out, and so those are very experiential. So they are experiencing certain things, role play, simulation, field trip. Those are the things that will earn them, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 points at one shot, something like that. The idea of the everyday reading program has a lot of what should I say? Has a lot of both academic support evidence as well as field tested. There are some really excellent program in Southeast Asia where some company build a program is like reading per day or something like that, and they have millions of users, and it has been very successful. But like most things, when they become successful, is the owners, the co-founders, having different ideas, and so that torn the company apart. So it's not because the program wasn't successful, it was because it was internal conflict, like in many things. Those are the usual suspect in being the killer of a successful program. So that's why we say, okay, one a day, read an article or watch a video are the most productive, effective, long-term planning for a company or for government in that regard. So for example, we are talking to governments right now about not so much about the written exam. There are a lot of issues with written exams, but the long-term reading programs are harder to find somebody to do it for you every day for a long period of time. That's one thing. The other thing is it shows a lot of qualities that a written exam cannot show. Written exam is a short thing, you get training for 3 days, you study hard, you cram, and then you know all the rules, the etiquette and rules and so on, and you ace it. It's not a bad thing. So those are the weaknesses on both sides. The reading program has weaknesses, and the written exam also has weaknesses in that regard. And that's why when IITTI call this credential an index, is because an index is like a stock market index. There are many different companies and so on that comes in, and somehow they come up with a number. The number itself doesn't mean very much. The World Civility Index doesn't mean very much, but it's comparatively. So every year a company can have one average, and the second year can have another average, and so on. So they can compare internally over the years. And of course, they can also compare with other companies as well in that regard. So that is what it is used for in that sense. But you're right, there are weaknesses.
If we are proposing to say, we are part of students, we are a target audience as well, target customer. So if you are proposing this to us, would you propose us to take the exam, or would you ask us to go through the app and do the reading, and which
Yeah,
one would you
yeah.
suggest?
The written exams is expensive. It's not just the exam, which is $150 US, but the requirement is you need to get the training beforehand. And so the trainers, these are very experienced image consultants and so on. They may charge an arm and a leg. So it could very well be a few $100s before you actually get to write the exam. And only if you pass, then you can earn the points. So that's a risk on most students, that we think that a lot of students around the world may not want to do. But if we ask a dollar per lesson in the reading part and so on, it's the humble beginning. And that's why we spend a lot of time training, educating human resource managers and companies into how do you read the index. Because for every person, you get a special link that you can show to the employer, and the employers can see what kind of credential are you writing the exam, or are you getting the reading programs and so on. So they know exactly how they want to interpret the index. Is up to them. Is up to the individual human resource manager. But we told them, what is it about? The written exam is really about the hardest of the soft skills. These are the hard examinable skills. Whereas the soft skills, the hardest one, the most treasured, precious quality are the soft skills. They are the empathy, they are the patience, they are the discipline that you can't test them on a written exam, but on a day-to-day basis, you can find out, you can cultivate that kind of heart with people. So those are the things. Some people like service industry, they love the written exam because, well, I don't have to train my people into servicing company, into servicing customers. So they have a very specific need in that. Whereas other companies say, well, no, 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 we really want to have the heart of the people. Because they themselves may be into ESG and so on. So it's really up to people. Soft skills on the surface is very well, how hard can it be, right? But it turns out that soft skills is much harder than hard skills. Even though hard skills like AI and all that is pretty hard, but soft skills are actually harder because there's so many different nuances. It's not
Yes.
just one thing.
Yes, absolutely. We are trying to come up with a marketing strategy. How can you market IITT? How can we reach more people? So it's from there all these questions are coming up from. How are we gonna sell this to people? So if it is an app, we need, I understand soft skills are more important, but how are we going to approach them? Like today, if you ask us to download the app and start paying $1 and do the exam, accumulate the scores, how many of us are going to be consistent in doing that? Exam one shot, but it is very expensive. Again, not affordable by students.
Mhm.
But in the past, if when you have approached HRs or other companies, what was the response? Like, what is your approach like when you go and talk to somebody? Or how do you get these people? Like, how do you align interviews? Has there been any successful outcomes out of that?
Yeah, it's very hard. It take we're not perfect by any means, but after 14 years and so on, we do learn that most companies don't want to do this. Most companies says, well, Patrick, we're not into the business of soft skills. We're into building shoes. We're into selling coffees and so on. So so the ESG proposition, corporate responsibility, and so on, it really sounds very nice on paper. And there are. I'm not saying that there are no companies who do that, but all in all, it's a hard sell. That's why I said, the UNGC, the UN Global Compact with 10,000 companies, they haven't been doing very much in terms of human capital development on a wide scale. Very, very little. And so you go, well, they must know something that we don't know, and that is because it is very hard to do. It takes a long time. It doesn't show result right away. The CEO tenureship is only about quarter to quarter, 3 months to 3 months. If you don't perform the next 3 months, your CEO position could be in jeopardy. And I said, soft skill takes years. Like Singapore, I mean, I've given that example. In 1979, they have a soft skill campaign because they realize that it's a long term. You want people to feel like they are Singaporean, not a hyphenated Singaporean. Doesn't matter whether you're Indian, Russian, Chinese, anybody in Singapore. They won't say I'm a Chinese Singaporean. They would just say I'm a Singaporean. That is how powerful that what they have this 1979 campaign onward. Even now they have it every year, right? And they say we want people to feel safe and respected in Singapore so that they can build a nation. And look at, the numbers speak for itself. Singaporean has one of the highest GDP, and they don't have any any trees, any land and sea like Canada, and yet they're better than Canada. So think about the Dutch disease we have in Canada. The Dutch disease is something like the more resources you have in a country, the more corrupted it could be. Think about that. So it's not about the minerals and the oil and so on. They could be actually making people very lazy in that regard. Think about that. So there's a lot of room for growth in Canada in that regard. So welcome to Canada.
So we were originally thinking this.
Sorry, guys. If I can interrupt. Hi, Patrick. Just want to say hi. I'm just checking with the students during OTL time. I see that you guys have a very productive conversation. I just wanted to check in if there are any questions directed to me, or where, as I understand, you guys are discussing the scope of the project for your proposal that you will be submitting by Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. I don't know whether, with my yapping going on, whether I was answering Shiba's questions. We were talking and so.
I think we were talking about that. We are like our understanding after we kind of your visit, Patrick, just to make sure that we're on the same page, that we have discussed with, like, we want to solve a very tangible and valuable challenge for you. At the same time, students also should be able, with the project scope, should be at the level of the complexity of MBA students. So what I mean by that I know you were very interested in this, what is called student ambassador program, right? But I think maybe you can correct us if I'm wrong, but it's one of the tactical steps that students can work on. But there are 5 brains here, and we were talking about that maybe they can work on overall building and creating the awareness strategy, starting from analyzing the market and understanding who is going to be the target market, right? So the end user consumers. We talked about a lot during the meeting. Well, we touched the topics of the challenge of the communication. So somebody will be working on the content marketing, how to build this awareness. So I think overall goal was awareness, right? Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong, if we are on the same page. And there's somebody else in the team will be working on the digital aspect of, social media and to what So I don't want this just to be the kind of report that they analyze and give you a bunch of theory, but rather a very clear, more kind of like priorities and step by step after the clear decisions and strategic decisions about, okay, so who you were targeting, and then why, and then what can you do, right? And then one of this, so there are two ways how to approach it and how to build awareness. One is digital and one is non-digital, right? And student ambassador program is probably is going to be a combination of both. But I think there are like we can divide. I was trying to help students to divide, and also I want them to communicate with you that 5 of them are doing a kind of one. Each one of them is doing quite a distinctive, separate piece of work. Which means that, of course, they will be independent. That's why their Sunday meetings, I aim that I want to hear each individual voice. And I hear like what Anmol is working on or what Sarah is working on, and then how they are communicating with each other, because obviously topics are interconnected. Okay, are we on the same page with that, guys? Shiba, Tanvi, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay.
Just that we are just trying to understand what we are focusing on here, because the exam seems way too expensive to be pushed to students. On the other hand, the app takes a lot of time to accumulate those points. Like we need to have a strong product or a strong selling point. So that is what we are trying to achieve here. I'm trying to understand from Patrick how this is practical for us to start the app now and start accumulating points. Like how?
Yeah, so what I hear from you, the challenge is that if there is not something that is expensive and one-off, but it requires me to be, again, like it's kind of what is the chicken and an egg problem. I already am expected to have a very high self-organization and self-discipline skill to be able to come back to the app and to add and build my profile, let's say, right? But then one of the skills that we are building or we are expected to build through this using that is part of this index, right? So that's an interesting question. So what guys you came up with so far? I think you've been together for an hour already, or am I wrong?
Yes. So that is something that we are stuck on, because if we are also the target audience. Like if we were to take up this app and start today, when are we going to accumulate points? Like it's kind of a dead end.
So I suggest you guys, this is where your strength is, and that is what you can help Patrick for, and this is where you can work with Megan maybe. You don't have, whenever there's a question, I'm pretty sure that somebody somewhere in the world already faced that challenge and they already probably solved it successfully. So you have two big sources of information. Either it is a theory written by some giants like, Michael Porter or Philip Kotler or somewhere like, big experts in the field. So either you have theory or you have case studies. So like, for example, try to abstract and think about, okay, without like diving deep into what is the index, what is it measuring? What are the apps? Like I just recently came up, in the evening, I just do some self-development and like Coursera or Daily Om or some apps that there are, what are the other ones are, there are a bunch of the self-development educational platforms and apps that are quite popular. So maybe you can find answer to your question. And Patrick doesn't have the answer to your question, and that's your strength, is to find these case studies. By case mean not case studies, sorry, cases in the business where a small company like Coursera, how they become effective, right? So what was the other one that I just was looking, like they were selling their courses and I'm looking for specific, for example, for me, I'm interested in writing case studies. And I found Princeton, one of the top universities, offers it for free. but then they sell something else on top. And then Udemy, another one, right, platform where you find courses and like you can build some indexes and you can build some credentials, and also LinkedIn Learning and courses that they originally sold for $100. If I buy it now, for example, I pay $10. So again, it's just an idea. Like I think if you think in this way, if there's a question and challenge, how to keep people motivated to build these skills, and what is the learning component there? Then these are the good questions to ask Patrick. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It, it's a difficult thing because like Shiva was mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
the e-learning, if it is a pure online study by yourself, the drop off rate is horrendous. It's
Yeah,
80% in many cases. Um, but the thing is, though, the good thing is we're not maximizing profit. That's one thing. We're maximizing, potential people who needs to be highlighted, and the 20% who sticks on, who kept going and so on, they're the one getting the jobs, and so it's it's not the best for a company to make profit, but it's the best to show off people who actually have the tenacity to stick to something for a long period of time, and not just one Coursera course or Udemy course and so on,
yeah.
um, in that regard.
And
But
yes, sorry. Have you considered taking this to schools where this could be part of a curriculum?
uh, we haven't thought of going to schools, except what we're doing with UCW, with professor here, in just learning about what young people are thinking about. That is the stage we're at right now. But of course, there are people who propose, hey, why not this ambassadorship program and so on, because this can be applicable, and so it gets us thinking into, well, what does it mean? Should it be pure online? For ITTI, we have a really, really hard time into saying that, should we maximize the number of students going on there? We acting like a startup, but the other camp, including me myself, is saying that we're not into profit. So why are we trying to maximize number of students? If people don't want to join something like this, that's the prerogative. Don't join. We only want good people to join. So, to keep our brand really, really good is to have people who are really, really good. So when they go out and get jobs like what they do in Taiwan and all that, they're getting rave review. Employers are saying, wow, everybody should go onto IITTI and learn something. And we no, 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 no. We don't want all your bad people to come on just and take the exam, and they aced it, and they go out and say, they have earned points and so on. In the long term, it's bad for branding.
Yes.
It's like the Gucci bag. You don't want everybody to be carrying Gucci bag, even though short term wise you make a lot of profit, but long term wise your Gucci brand is
I mean, that's again a conflicting with a vision of IITTI, because through this program we are educating people, right? We are making better people, better employable, better human beings, right? So, and with more people coming in and out of the system, we give, even if their people are not okay, once they take this, they're going to be better than
good.
how
Yes,
they
yes,
came in.
yeah.
So the more people, more awareness, and more people know about it, hear about it, and that's how we set the standard, I guess. And always there are people who are gonna cheat, who are gonna um, just do it for the sake of doing it, or not do it at all. And also, how keen on you in collecting that $1?
Well,
How?
we're very keen. Yeah, we're very keen because we want to put it into our piggy bank, into our sovereign wealth fund, if you may. So
And
that's Yeah, so that in the future we're gonna hire a CEO. I'm gonna be, riding off into the sunset, and you need to have a CEO, young people like yourself who needs to be paid. So yeah, we want that $1 too.
Oh, okay. I was gonna suggest a program probably for a few months where students can take it up for free or something like that to spread awareness as one of our strategies. Will you be up for something like that? If
Yes,
yes, right, we will
yes.
include that in our report. Yes.
Now.
I think, guys, you guys again, what I really would like you to be able to show in this project is that I always like the brainstorming ideas. However, I would like you to support them with some either theory or successful cases. So, for example, what I know from the theory of consumer behavior and marketing is one of my specialties is that, like think about yourself when you get something for free or when you get something that you pay, psychologically, unfortunately, human beings, we do not appreciate things that we get for free.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
actually, like, it's even actually opposite. Like, why people buy this luxury, why the luxury market actually exists. Because people think, oh, I buy this expensive car, that means I'm worth it. Unfortunately, some people think like that. It's kind of like more a status, right? I have to wear a certain watch, or nowadays it's not watch or whatever, either status elements, right? The latest iPhone model, or whatever. So, and why people pay it, even if it's like cost effective, is not sharing is not turned on. Oh, I wanted to share with you the marketing funnel. I cannot share a picture here. Can I? Send request. Request has been sent, Patrick. I think what Patrick just Shiba, I want to turn to what Patrick was trying to say, if I correctly understand. Students are aiming to develop a strong awareness strategy, and they want to to build a brand though that have a strong identity, like unique identity. Can I share a screen again? Yes, I can. Okay. So the idea is that yes, you want to be very selective in terms of who will be loyal to you and who will like be loyal to the brand or to the app and be part of the group that you community that you're building. But the funnel has to be wide in the beginning. So the first one that sorry, I just googled it. It's a very popular concept of. You don't look at the sources. I don't know. I didn't, but the picture looks familiar to me. Like this is the basic of the marketing theory, right, guys? So
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
order for you to have a certain number of end users that will be loyal and will stay with this app and will build this index and with its long-term strategy, you have to reach to much bigger audience. So this is the first thing that we're working on is what we call awareness strategy. That so it's good to think about and calculate. Okay, what is the number? How much we will lose after that? How much we'll know about it, but they will consider it, do better investigation, and will say no. And how much of them will click actually and do some extra work to register and to pay this extra dollar? So this is conversion, and then how much actually will stay after the being excited, how we start workouts, we start something new in new year, and then usually every coach will tell you February is a drop in workouts because
Oh,
people don't keep up with their new year resolutions. So how many customers will stay loyal? It's a big question. So you see the funnel suddenly got very narrow here.
mhm.
So that's why I think I hear what you're saying. You want only good quality people to stay. You don't want it to be like to be a world known brand. But I think that's what we are talking about. So we want to bring quite a broad awareness and
Mhm.
how to do that, right? Yeah. So
Mhm.
I'll just stop sharing.
Yeah, that's a very good the status thing. I think people are saying, well, Patrick, status may not be a bad thing. And this is with some economists that we talk to, and some AI experts. The reason being is AI is taking a big role. Since myself is a techie, I think about AI all the time, and they're saying that in the new economy,
Yeah.
status is a good market
Yeah.
because if people are, for example, IITTI, people earning points, they have certain visible status that gives people pride in a good way. so that they would say, well, no, this is something, you do good and you're appreciated by society. So that's a very positive thing. So pride and brand identity may not be, or it may not be a dirty word in that sense. So I think those are things that maybe young people like my daughters, they care about in, what happened after AI takes over in that sense. And I want to share a graph our team did that can actually compartmentalize certain parts of it, so that the team members can all take one part of it and do some research on it that would build the narrative. I'm hoping, so that when young people come on and say, "Wow, there's this IITTI, what's it for?" and so on, there's a very, very rich narrative that the young people would say, yes, of course, this is something that I want to get onto. So I'll share this with you. I'll also send it with you so that you can you can see it. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to say to the guys, to my team, I have to leave now and check in with the other team. If you guys need me, I have another OGL at 2:30, but I can join them later. If you after you're done with Patrick, probably you won't let him go in half an hour at least. If you still need me, just call me on Microsoft Teams and I can chat with you after the session. Again, I really would like for you, all of you guys to think that you're all equal and you can all ask questions to Patrick, right? Because that's what I would like you to do. It's not responsibility of just only Shiba's or her initiative, right? She's a team lead, but you all are please welcome and ask questions, because you all have individual parts that you're working on. And I want all of you to be clear with what you're doing and what you're contributing to the project, okay? Sounds good? Okay, thank you very much for your Patrick. I really, really appreciate it. Your willingness and your time that you spend with the students is very invaluable. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so this is the graph that our group has come up with. At the very beginning here, you can all see the graph, right?
Yes.
There's the personal side, and then it goes to the company, society, and the big one, the civilization part. And how the World Civility Index can help is you already familiar with, is the human resource recruitment. They can have a KPI, the measurement and so on. And for the companies, they can have ESG and so on. Those are things I think we have talked about. For the bigger things, I don't know if I have time to cover UBI, the Universal Basic Income. And that is when AI takes over, everybody needs to have a paycheck from the government. So this is where the UBI comes in. In a few years, none of us will have jobs. AI and robots are going to do everything. This is going to help a graduated UBI based on the World Civility Index. In other words, people who earn more World Civility Index points, they get a higher pay. That's simple. The more they earn in points, the more they earn in income. That's the new world order. That's governments are very interested in, and also to every individual citizens, young people, old people. How can they thrive in the AI dominated, robot dominated world that is coming very, very quickly? We're already seeing people getting laid off from companies because of AI and so on. So it's coming very quickly. And the last thing is civilization. How do you actually fight off the AI existential threat in that regard? In the sense that there are people saying AI is going to kill us all, literally. But there are experts like our compatriot Canadian professor of computer science in AI at the University of Toronto, Dr. Jeffrey Hinton. he has been saying that we need to somehow raise AI properly so that they would have good DNA. And that is having human being acting as good role model instead of just listening to the vitriolic social media, the very toxic news and all that. If AI only see that, that's how they're going to grow up with the wrong genes. So they want AI to grow up with the good genes, and that is human being all across the board en masse to have good role model behavior as good parents in that regard so that AI can grow up and be good citizens. So that's an existential threat to civilization. And so those are the kind of narrative perhaps that would be useful in having people understand why we're doing something like this. It's not just for your own good, but it's, every point that you make, there's some of our members are drafting, are crafting a line saying that every point that you make is not only for yourself, but is another step forward for civilization or something like that. So those are things that people can see there. We're all part of the same wheel, a good wheel, going in the same direction.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I think, okay, we have to go to our team's call soon. But before that, will you be able to, I have two requests from you. One is, can you share some of your existing customer data so we can review the statistics on the demographics and of your existing customer base, so we can research on what could be your potential customer base.
Yeah.
So that data and a link or instructions for us to register in the app. So we will have a better picture, and we can also probably pay and start. So that would be useful for us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me take some notes.
Yes.
I have you have given me homework to do. One is what was it again? The first
Your
one is,
existing
oh,
customer database and their demographics
okay, existing customer.
database, yes.
And then the second one is the
Link for us
link,
to.
yeah, for UCW students. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All
And
right. Yeah.
do you guys want any information from Patrick, guys, before we go to our team's call?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, Patrick. I think so far this has been very informative. So we will, this week we are finalizing the proposal, and we will send it to you as well once our professor also approves it. Um, and we will we'll keep you posted.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you later then. I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.